Hey guys, welcome back to Compound Interest. This is Maverick. So, where is this market going to go? How far are we going to drop? These are all questions I'm going to answer today because I got all the answers. Not really. If anybody tells you that they know exactly where this market's going to go or what's going to happen, they're lying to you. But I am going to try and use economics and history to try and predict where I think this market is going to go. So, if you're interested in hearing my opinion about that, stay tuned for this quick disclaimer and we'll jump right into it. Hey guys, it's Maverick. Welcome back. So today's video, we're going to go over where I think the market's going to go, and this is my best guess and opinion from being investing and trading and stuff for a long time. Like I said, I was a financial advisor when I was 19 years old, so I've been around finances and investing for a long time now. So I'm not saying that I have a crystal ball or know exactly where it's going to go, and like I said, nobody knows exactly where it's going to go. But I'm going to do my best to give you guys an idea so you can prepare for what may or may not be coming. And one of the big questions that I know is going on is people are wondering if this is going to push us into a recession or the next Great Depression. But in order to find that out, let's ask Chris Pine and Kevin Costner, because I think they have a good idea where stuff's going.
All right, let's say it's happened. Let's say you're right. What's the aftermath?
They'll recover. We won't. We don't have their oil reserves. We're looking at the panic of 1837, the panic of 1893, the Soviet famine of 1932.
Hyperinflation.
Bread lines. Rioting.
I know, I get it.
And at first, they'll call it the American crisis, but within about 6 weeks, they're going to start calling it what it is. The Second Great Depression.
All right. So thanks for indulging in that with me. I appreciate it. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if it's going to get that bad, but there always is a chance that we are due for another depression or recession because we've been going up for so long, and there's such a big wage gap, and our monetary policy is so lax now. We're going to get into that here in a minute. If you guys could please like and subscribe, that makes me happy. It helps out the YouTube algorithm. And of course, when you hit the like button, I drink Corona for the foreseeable future. All right, so before I dive into that topic, let's talk about what's going on in the markets real quick. So if you look right here, this is the weekly chart, and it doesn't look good. So this giant spike up is from March 23rd, and that's basically, was that last week? And that was basically when the government announced their $2 trillion stimulus package and that everybody was going to get $1,200. And so the market just jumped. And from a technical standpoint, this is a bullish engulfing candle, which is a good sign for a reversal. However, if you look at the next week already, we've already dipped another 8%. And there's an article right here in CNBC talking about the Dow fell 900 points as Wall Street fears coronavirus will shut down economy longer than expected. Well, no shit. I personally think that this is going to last a lot longer than people think, and I think everybody needs to prepare for dealing with the effects of this, or at least coronavirus being around for the next year, in my opinion. Now, that may sound crazy, but China's already having a second wave of cases going on. I think they're probably going to contain it better, but if the same thing happens here, this is only going to double in time. And the 4 weeks that the unemployment that the United States is giving at 100%, or was it 4 weeks or 4 months? I think it might be 4 months of 100% pay. Well, I don't think will be enough time, which is exactly why I made the video last week about how to make money on the side during this, because I think it's going to last a lot longer than people think. Anyway, so this article right here, if you scroll down, it's not very happy. This is what Trump said: prepare for a very, very painful 2 weeks. You know, I don't know how he could say 2 weeks and for sure say it with such definity. I mean, he's the one that said, like, like a month ago that this corona thing would be over. So, but what they said here, the White House officials are projecting between 100,000 and 240,000 virus deaths in the United States. Now that is crazy, and personally, I think it's going to be higher. And the reason why is because the CDC predicted that between 75 and 120 million Americans would get this virus. Right now, it has a 4% mortality rate. So that would make the deaths between 2 and 6 million people. Now, I don't know if it'll get that high if people decide to wake up and we flatten the curve a little bit, but it will definitely be higher than I think 200,000. So that's my personal prediction, and I'm sorry if it's not the happy prediction. I'm just trying to be real with what the numbers are and how much this country as a whole has blown this off and reacted poorly. And I think it's going to overwhelm healthcare systems in parts of the United States. It's already doing it in New York. It may not do it in every part of the country, but we just don't have enough resources to stop something that's a silent killer that we can't track. Anyway, from this right here, this article, there's tremendous uncertainty, said Patrick Kaiser. He's a Brandywine Global. If you look at stock market turmoil over the past, the past month, I guess, it hasn't been positive. There's been the one day, or this is like the past, 2 weeks, I guess. There's been the one day where we bounced back 9% and 6%, but you look at the majority of losses are consistent. And if you're going to the chart, I mean, it's been consistent down. And we may bounce up and back down and keep going down. I don't really know. You can't predict it, but I wish I could give you guys good news, but my prediction is coronavirus is probably going to be around to the fall, if not later, and the economic effects of this are gonna be years, because this is going to expose all the flaws in our monetary policy system. It's going to expose all the flaws in the government as a whole and how they handle all this stuff. And there may be some changes, there may not, but you can kind of read through this article if you want. Anyway. Let's jump to what's going on actually right now. So if we're looking at the cases in the United States, as of April 1st, which is today when I'm filming this, there are 186,000 cases in the United States with over 3,600 deaths, which is starting to blow up. I can't remember what I just posted a week ago, but if you go back on my last video and look at the numbers, I mean, this is probably more than doubled by then. I know the world one that I'm going to show you next has definitely more than doubled. It's getting scary in terms of the cases popping up. But this is showing the hot zones right now with I don't know how there could be 5,000 cases. Oh, actually, yeah. There's 186,000 cases. Anyway, yeah, the hot zones. So like New York and California, all the places where there's just a lot of people, and in my opinion, a lot of stupid people. Sorry if you live in California and New York, but I've lived here. I've lived in Los Angeles before, and I lived in Washington, D.C., and there are unfortunately a lot of stupid people. So it's no surprise that the major cities are obviously getting hit hard. Now let's go to the world one right here. Over 900,000 cases in the world, almost 50,000 deaths. Now, when you see this video, there will be over 1 million cases and probably well over 50,000 deaths by this time, which is crazy. I mean, if you think about where this was a month ago or 2 months ago, these numbers were like at 1,000 people and 10,000, and it's just crazy to me how this is all starting to spiral out of control. And I don't think that this is going to get better anytime soon. Now, on the flip side of this, if you're taking precaution and you've played the stock market well or any other investment well over the past decade, this is a huge, huge opportunity for people. If you can invest in these downturns right here, if you're a trader, you're going to be very happy because you can make a bunch of money longing and shorting the market on the volatility. But if you're if you're an investor and you know the markets well, you can take advantage of this and, in my opinion, retire early, which is what my goal is. My goal is to accelerate my retirement date by taking advantage of all this economic downturn. And I'm not saying you need to rush into the market and buy. My advice that I'm going to keep saying through every video and for the next period of time is to buy in increments over the next 6 to 18 months, because I think that that's when there's going to be some sort of bottom in this market. And I don't think we're at the bottom personally. I think this thing could see as a whole, let's see here. As a whole, I think we could see a 50% drop. I think we'll come down here to these, somewhere down here around these lows. That's close to 50%. That would wipe out gains for the past 5 years, which sucks, but I think that's pretty likely that there's gonna be a 50% retracement all the way down here before this starts to level out. Now, I don't think it's gonna continue to be as fast as this drop. I think we had the initial drop from all the hysteria, and then I think it's going to kind of smooth out and work its way down over the next, like I said, 6 to 18 months. And then the economic effects of this, when everybody realizes what we've done to the economy and everything else, is when things are really going to get bad, in my opinion. So let's go to this next. All I'm showing today is what other economists think is going to happen, and I concur with a lot of these opinions. So I would be more than happy, by the way, to be wrong. I don't want this to turn into a depression or anything of the sort. But if you're rolling it out and think that it can't happen, then I just think you're being naive and ignorant to how history and what's happened before. So this is from London CNC Business. 30 days that brought the world to the brink of a depression, and it's really all it took. The world right now is pretty much in a recession. This brought all kinds of countries to its knees. It halted economies. In the span of a 30-day period. And people a year ago thinking that the market was going to over like this, a global recession that was once thought unthinkable in 2020 is now a foregone conclusion. And some experts warn that the pandemic could drag the world's economy into a depression. More bad news. The coronavirus outbreak may be just getting started. Now, if you follow someone that I follow a lot, Mike Maloney, who is a big fan of gold and silver, he's pretty biased, in my opinion, on gold and silver, thinking it's, the end-all be-all of everything, which, to his point, it has been the longest asset. They were talking recently, and they had a point that they think that this coronavirus itself is going to be around for the next year. And if what the CDC predicted is true, anywhere from 40 to 70% of the world's population is expected to get infected. I mean, we're not even freaking close. 40% of the population would be, what would that be? Like 2 billion people, and we're only at like 1 million people. So that's like 1%. So this is why I'm stressing that this is going to be around for, I think, for the next year. And if the virus mutates and revamps back in next spring or over the winter time, this is just going to happen again. So I want to stress to everybody that you need to be prepared during this, and just plan accordingly. I'm not saying you have to freak out. Like I said before, you don't have to freak out and buy the store. But I think from an economic and financial standpoint, you need to have yourself prepared for a lot more than what you think is going to happen. Because I don't think the government is going to be able to bail everybody out for the next year straight. They will. If they bailed everybody out for the next year straight, we're going to have a giant deflationary state and then huge hyperinflation like what happened back in Germany with the mark. And it won't be pretty. And this corona will be like $50 for one bottle. Anyway, this is an article. I'm going to link these articles down in the description. I'm also going to link where I get like the CDC cases and this worldometer, which I think does a great job of tracking this. The next thing, this kind of rolls into something I'm going to talk about in the future, but I'm going to go over this just real quick, and that's the 7 stages of an empire. And this has been true all the way back to Athens, Greece, and the Romans and everything else, and how they started and grew to power and then fell. And it starts with these 7 stages right here. We start with sound money. Now, the United States was backed by gold back in the 1920s and 30s, and so off until Nixon took us off the gold standard. But it starts out with sound money of well-defined value, usually either gold or silver, or a proxy backed by gold and silver. Then, you have public works, and I'll let you guys read this stuff. Public works, and then they dump it into a massive military. Sound familiar? The United States have a massive military, and then perpetual war. And the United States has, waged war or been in everybody's business since before I was born. I mean, when World War II or World War One, I can't remember which one it was, almost brought this country to its knees in terms of an economic meltdown. So there's war, and then they debase the currency supply to fund war or other things like that. In this case, it would be coronavirus, to fund coronavirus. Other countries have done that where they had gold. The Greeks did that where they started dumping metals and stuff and diluting the currency, debasing it, and that devalued it a lot. Now the United States, what they're doing with their dollar is now they're just firing up the printing presses and printing out trillions and trillions of dollars. And when you flood the currency supply like that, and people aren't buying, and then people go to buy down the road, it's going to cause a major loss of purchasing power, which is why you're going to see prices go like this. And right now, we are at this stage right here, loss of faith. Now, the dollar bill has lost 98% of its purchasing power since it started. And to sum this up just straight, the loss in purchasing power of the expanded currency supply is sensed by the populace and by financial markets, triggering a loss of faith in the currency, and then the mass exodus of the falling of currency into precious metals or other tangible assets takes place. So basically, the currency, the monetary policy collapses, and then what was originally money rises into place and is used as a transition to the next monetary system. So whatever that would be, we may go back on the gold standard for a period of time until they find something else. The United States talked about recently about a digital dollar. So that would be a ripoff of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies by using, I guess, blockchain technology. But if you're controlling it, the same thing is going to happen down the road. Anyway, I'm going to go into detail on the 7 stages of empire more in the future. But like I said, just to sum all this up, I don't want to be doom and gloom about everything, but you guys need to prepare for this to last a lot longer than you think. A lot longer than what they're telling you. I mean, it's not like they can come out on TV and say, hey, this is going to be happening for the next year, and this is probably going to push into depression. I mean, like, everybody would freak out. I mean, people already did freak out over this anyway. So imagine being told that, hey, yeah, our monetary system's going to collapse, or the dollar's going to collapse. They can't say that. All they can do is keep throwing money at the problem and hope that it fixes the problem. And if it happens to fix the problem and we recover, when inflation and deflation and all those things kick in, prices are going to go crazy. So that's my prediction with that. So be prepared for this. Don't believe that this is going to happen. This is going to be done May 1st. And then everything's going to be all hunky-dory, and the schools are going to open back up, and everybody's going to be singing Kumbaya, because I don't think it's going to happen. However, like I said, this is also a amazing opportunity if you have cash on the side and you've been waiting to put it into something. If you got the extra money, take advantage of this opportunity over the next 6 to 18 months. Not financial advice, because I'm not a financial advisor anymore, but I plan to take advantage of it and speed up my retirement date, or my retire date. This is a shorter video. and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like always, if you could please hit that like button and subscribe. It helps out the YouTube algorithm and helps out the channel. And of course, when you hit the like button, I drink Corona. So until next time, stay safe, stay vigilant, and I'll see you guys in the next video.